Hello, everybody. Anybody who's watching. All right. This is Real Ride Share Stories. My name is Chris. We are going to talk about a couple of things that happened today in Uber and Lyft. Well, actually, just the gig economy actually itself as a whole, as all eyes are on Uber and Lyft and DoorDash and every other possible gig economy, whatever you want to talk about, happening in California. All eyes are kind of on there as Uber and all these other places had their rally to kind of show support against AB5, which is the employment bill. And it passes you have to pass an ABC test. If you don't know the AB5 bill yet, go on to Google and check it out. But yeah, essentially it's a bill for people who want to become employees of Uber, Lyft, other gig economies. Tomorrow is a hearing. I don't know if it's the actual vote or not. I just looked it up on Bill Tracker, which is another way you can see where the bill is. It did pass the the House. It is in the Senate, and I believe tomorrow is the hearing for it, not necessarily the vote. So went to the tail end of it. All right, how was it there when you were there? And then what time did you get there, Rick? Yeah, I live in New York. I was watching the live stream. I was watching it on Dustin's channel, where he was holding up two phones. So we were watching a bunch of different views of it. I was watching the Rideshare Professor as well too, and kind of seeing what was going on. So just it's going to be a shorter live stream, only about 10 minutes or so, hopefully. If you guys have any questions or anything or comments, write in the live stream, write in below. Security acted dumb. Oh, I believe very late. Went to the tail end. Okay. What's up, Mark? Yeah. Okay. So, Rick, you probably got a pretty good view there. But if you guys weren't watching beforehand or didn't know, essentially, yeah, there was the rally. There was, from what I heard, about 200 people there. Not too many people showed up. A couple of things that they were rallying for was against AB5. There was a rally too for people who are in support of it. I'm just going to talk about the rally itself and the recap of it from what I saw. So there were a lot of people from YouTube, a lot of YouTubers there, a lot of rideshare drivers, a lot of gig economy workers. They were up voicing their opinions and talking. A lot of people were reading from things. If you really want to watch a couple of the live streams, go back and watch. Some of them are a couple hours long, but it was a pretty long event. I think there was maybe a couple Uber execs that were there, but they weren't talking really. Also, if anybody was trying to talk to them, nobody was saying anything from Uber itself. And one of the big things is whether you're for the employment bill, AB5, or not, this will affect everybody in California when it does happen. And it could affect not just California, but the entire world when it comes to these types of bills being passed, because if one state does it, it can have a domino effect to others. Now, if you enjoy the gig economy as is, hey, that's great. I do like the independent contracting side of it, where it's the free flexibility of things, where I can drive multiple at the same time and go on and off as I want. So right now, instead of driving at 8:47 time where it is where I am, normally I might head out right now or a little bit earlier, but at least I can go out a little bit later. If it's not busy, I don't have to stay onto it. If it does, I'm out of ride sharing. I would be too. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. I would love to continue doing it. I'm in New York State, so it is very possible that they could extend the New York City minimum wage laws to the entire state, as they've done other bills and other laws. One of them that they just did was the It was a rental thing that they did. And I mean, it's very easy for them, and it's very easy for them to even change the employee instead of an independent contractor. And usually New York likes to follow California in a lot of things. Now, their legislative session has ended for the year, which is good, so at least I'll be okay for the rest of their break until they come in back. But if they don't do anything, it could happen at any time, though, when they are back in legislation. Now, California, like I said, they're doing a hearing. I don't know if they're going to be doing the actual vote on the Senate floor tomorrow or not. We will find out probably a little bit more tomorrow. But yeah, some of the recap, again, like I said, there were people that were talking outside the Capitol building. They had about 200 people or so there, not too many. If they were actually looking for like signatures or whatever it might be, they really didn't get it there. They were offering food, and they were offering like pizza and t-shirts for people to come out. There has been certain things that were said that there were monetary drives as well too, to get people there instead of their own free will, which, hey, I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't want to say that was true or not because I don't know. That's what I've heard some other fellow people talking about. You can watch that in some of the live streams. But yes, there might have been some monetary, maybe I don't want to say the word bribes, but probably some, hey, I'll pay you to come here. That's possible. I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to say anything for or against it. That's a rumor. I can't verify that yet unless somebody did. Did people take the t-shirts? Yes, they did. If you watch any of the live streams or see some of the pictures, there were a lot of people who were wearing white t-shirts that says "I'm independent." That was a t-shirt that they were giving out. So they were taking the t-shirts. But as a rideshare driver, there was nobody that was there that asked or talked about what Uber and Lyft were doing when it came to what rates used to be or what conditions used to be a few years ago to what they are now. A lot of people were making $2 a mile or more. I think a lot were making around $2.15 per mile. And then they had the 80-20 split where drivers made 80. Their Uber and Lyft's take was 20. I believe that was actually both companies, but I can't remember because it's been such a long time ago. And then when it split, it went to, when they changed that split, then they started dropping prices. So now certain places and certain markets are, 68 cents, 73 cents, 62 cents per mile. So when you go from $2.15 down to 63 cents or whatever it might be in many different areas, that's a huge, huge problem for a lot of people, especially people who are doing this full time and want to do this full time. I do a part-time, the pay rates, yes, they do affect me, but they don't really affect me too much. Like my livelihood isn't based on Uber and Lyft. It never was, it never will be. It's a great supplement. I do it for a lot of different reasons, and I enjoy doing it. And I don't want that to go away. I like the flexibility and I like those things. But, flexibility as an independent contractor is not the best thing. There's a lot of other things that need to be addressed as well, too. So nobody really brought that up, at least from what I saw during the live streams, and even like the rideshare professor and anybody else who was there who was actually talking on their live streams were saying that nobody was really going up there and saying how they were talking about it, and then the different things of stuff that needs to be said in order to, make changes. Nothing's written in pen. Nothing is written down from Uber or Lyft saying, hey, if we can remain as is and keep the independent contractor status and get rid of AB5, well, then we'll do these types of things. Maybe better pay rates, maybe all of that. There's nothing. They promised people pizza and food and t-shirts. What's the point of that? Oh, wow. To keep your independent contractor status so you can keep the flexibility. I mean, that's all essentially, as Uber, Lyft driver, independent contractor, that's all you have is the flexibility to go on and off, to drive for multiple apps or to do multiple gig economies. So if you want to do DoorDash, if you want to do Uber Eats, if you want to do Postmates, if you want to do Instacart, if you want to drive for Uber and Lyft, whatever it might be, if you want to do all those different things at different times or kind of all together and have little to no downtime, that is very much going away. As Uber and Lyft has already stated, they're not going to have the flexibility. Are they fear-mongering? It's possible. They might keep it, the flexibility, but who knows? They're just trying to make sure that drivers are on board with them versus AB5. As it is, I think there's a way where people can kind of come together, both sides of it, whether it's Uber and Lyft. It will appease the state lawmakers in California to kind of maybe give the leniency away from AB5 and include drivers into it. So there's no backdoor deals. There's no one-sided ways saying, oh, we are Uber and Lyft. If you want to drive for us, you agree to these terms, and there's no back and forth. There's no way to negotiate rates. There's no way to do that. I think if we can kind of put everybody in a pot or in a room and have things come together and create more of a synergistic way for all drivers, for Uber and Lyft, for lawmakers, for everybody to see the future of things, that could be a really good thing. Let's go back a little bit into the comments, see what people are writing. I can take these off now. It's kind of a little bit later. Saw some of the professors. Yeah, Dylan did forget. He did his own live stream for something for deactivations, which, that's a big protection right there. Just driver protection in general. Anybody can be deactivated for anything at any time. So if you put all of your eggs into the Uber or Lyft basket, if somebody says a false report against you, there's no appeal process, really. Essentially, the only thing you could do is talk to a lawyer and get something that get a fraudulent or defamation of character suit against the passenger, and then maybe somehow string it into Uber and Lyft and get that reversed. But sometimes they say their decisions are final and you have zero appeal process whatsoever. And it's very difficult. So yeah, there's a lot of things that need to be done there. So that's another thing. So will there be protections? I'm hearing California wants to start requiring business license for being a driver as well. Not sure how true it is. I've seen that email as well too going around. I've watched a couple other people on YouTube say that could just be scare tactics. Who knows what it might be? It could be, taxi commission boards that operate in these cities, pulling leniency on these things to make them licensed for certain things. I don't know anything around that. I know in New York City, yes, you have to be. They could be doing something like that, making sure that these people are licensed. I believe it's in the LA area only. I haven't seen anything else. I'm not sure if it's throughout the state as well. But like I said, I've seen emails and it looks like it's only from the LA area of emails that I've seen passed out and given out. If it's anybody in California, that's a whole different story. But I heard it might just be fear tactics and fear mongering because there's this email that went out with that and nothing ever happened from it. Like if you click the link, it doesn't go anywhere. And that's the last I've really heard. I haven't really followed up with that because it just kind of seemed like a dead end. And a lot of people were talking about it being fear tactics and fear mongering to drivers. So I don't know if that's going to happen, Mark. Scott Walsh, is this the end of Uber? It very well could be. It could mark the decline of it. If Uber goes to employee status in California, who knows what's going to happen fully? It could be something where they might stop operations there. I doubt that's going to happen. They might just have to work it into their just repertoire of things. I'm not quite sure. Everything's speculation right now. Everything's up in the air. But it could be the downfall of Uber. You know, part of their IPO stated that if drivers were considered employees, it could really hurt their business because an employee itself, you know, you have not only the wage, but you have benefits that you have to pay for. You have taxes that you have to pay for. You know, there's a lot of things that you have to cover as a employer that you have to cover. So their cost of doing business would go up, accounting for all of the drivers that would become employees versus independent contractors. So they're curtailing the law a little bit by saying, oh, you're an independent contractor, you have the flexibility to do this stuff. But that's really it when it comes down to it. So an independent contractor, in reality, you have a lot of different things that you can do. You can negotiate your pricing. You can negotiate what you do. You can negotiate all of these different factors. But with Uber and Lyft, you can't negotiate any of that. You're one-sided. You have to agree to it. And if you don't, hey, guess what? You don't drive for Uber or Lyft anymore. That's simple. And unfortunately, that's a problem. So the only thing you have really in flexibility is the flexibility to go online, to use both apps at the same time, actually to use multiple apps, because like I said, you can do multiple different gig economy style jobs, and then the ability to accept or deny. And then even now with the airport issue where you can't turn off when you're sitting in the airport lot. You have to be online. And if you don't, you can face deactivation. You can face all these different things. I believe it might only be in one airport or a couple airports. It's not all over. So that has limited also your ability to go on and off the app as well. Further demoting your independent contractor status. Let's see. So yeah, it could be, yes, people did take the t-shirt. Some people were bussed in. I saw, yeah, when there's things like that happening, a lot of people do get bussed in. When there's big things happening around the state, in New York, Albany is our capital, which is kind of in the central New York State area. It's about a 5-hour drive from Buffalo, where I am. So when there's big things happening, there's a lot of people who do bus in. So that doesn't surprise me when you have something like this. One guy had a shirt, Uber is my dream job, just the way it is. Yeah, you know, hey, that's cool. That's up to you guys. I mean, whatever you feel is the way you want to go. I mean, if you want to become an employee, that's cool. If you're relying on this solely, but the problem is some of you guys that are driving 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, whatever Uber or Lyft might allow. When Uber and Lyft, if you have to go into an employee status and then start paying overtime, it's very unlikely you'll be working over 40 hours. If you work 40 hours, they might not do full-time. They might keep it part-time to keep costs down even more. Because that's what Walmart does a lot of the time. It's very rare to see full-time workers at Walmart, so they can curtail certain benefit things. Could Uber and Lyft follow suit? It's very possible. So again, that's speculation. I don't know fully, but we'll see. Bursting out of this said shirt, nice. Have you thought about delivering pizzas for Pizza Hut? I used to drive for a pizzeria I did it for 8 years. It was a great job. I loved it. So flexible with things, but it had the shifts, and you had to do things and you had to do shifts and be there for certain things. It was great. You know, tips was very customable. And I worked right around the 40 to 50 hour mark because I was able to. So I was pulling in pretty good cash there. I did it for 8 years. it was pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. You get to sit in your car, listen to music, deliver food. But yeah, it's fun. Delivering pizzas isn't bad. I wouldn't want to go back to it then. Some people might. Um, you were offered $100 credit for food from DoorDash. Wow. So that might be the truth. The pie right there, that people were paid to go there. Like I said, I heard that rumor. I wouldn't doubt it. Some of the things that you heard did sound scripted. I mean, they were writing everything. Some of it was real, some of it was legit, but I think there were a couple of people who were paid to talk as well too. Again, I don't know. That's speculation on my part, and what I heard from other live streams as well too. All the gig economies, gig apps are losing money. Yes, to a point, yes, they are. Some of the things are that they're doing though is they're stacking debt, which will help with not paying taxes or help with tax things within the states, within the country. So if you don't claim income, or if you don't claim positive income, it helps you lower your tax rate to literally zero. Amazon has not paid taxes last year, and there's a reason for it. And they do a large business. Yeah, they're not making money, but they are making money. They are making cash flow because otherwise they wouldn't be able to employ people. There's a lot of different things. Don't you think people giving taxi rides should have proper insurance and legit background checks? They are. Well, if you're talking about taxi rides, they got to be licensed. They have background checks. There's a lot of things with taxis and cabs. Uber and Lyft drivers are the exact same thing. There's a background check that you have to go through. There's driving record check that you have to go through. There's a lot of different things. Scott, I don't know if you drive or not, but if you don't, yes, every driver has to go through a background check no matter where they are. Insurance, proper insurance. They do have insurance through Uber and Lyft for the rides as well. So Uber and Lyft do provide the insurance while the ride is happening. There's different insurance riders for when you're going to a ride, and different insurance for when you are online and not in a ride or going for a ride. So each thing's a little bit different. I know both companies are going to be making it easier to understand when there's insurance, when there's not, how it works, all that good stuff. I know Lyft or Uber has changed and made it a little bit more clear. But yeah, that does happen. I hope it's just a fear tactic. I almost feel like I'd be working for free with all this new stuff they're trying to push. Yeah, there's a lot of different things going on. If it becomes law under Uber, or Uber will have to pay 12 an hour. It depends on the area. Some areas are going to have different laws when it comes to minimum wage. Will you be making a minimum wage? Probably. I don't know. But the big question is what happens with the cars, the vehicles, gas, all that stuff. Because if you are the employee at this point instead of the independent contractor, where are all those expenses? How are all those expenses going to be paid? Because if you as an employee have to pay for it, that's even, you're going to be paid less. I mean, when you do the workarounds of everything, gross, I mean, sometimes I make 15 an hour if it's a slow night. But other times when it's normal, it's usually 22 to 25. And when it's busy, it could be upwards of $30 to $40 per hour for a night, for like the entire shift that I might be working and pulling. So it really just depends on what's going on. But if you're paying a flat $12 fee or whatever it might be around that time, whether it's busy or slow, who knows what's going to happen, because that could be a pay cut to you too. Again, like I said, that's all gross pay that I'm accounting, so it doesn't include gas, car maintenance, taxes, all that good stuff. So who knows what happens? Time will tell if it actually goes into an effect. DoorDash offered $8 for a 38-mile delivery. Wow. I used to do Uber Eats when it first came into the area and tried it out. They were doing promotions up the yin yang because it wasn't worth it. Some people make some pretty decent money doing it, but for me, it wasn't worth it. So anybody who is making money with it and doing good, whether it's DoorDash, Postmates, Uber Eats, whatever it might be, if you're making money with it, that's cool. A lot of people, though, that I've talked to don't. Also, how much do you think you need to make an hour a year to provide for a family in 2019? Honestly, it really depends on where you are. If you live in the Carolinas, the cost of living is a lot different there than it is in California and New York, Texas. So each area is different. It really depends, again, like I said, the market you're in the state you live in, the area you live in. Because if you're living in a city, things might be a little bit more expensive there than on the suburbs, the outskirts. In the suburbs might be a little bit more expensive than the cities. So it really depends. I don't know. Depending on your market, to provide for a family in 2019, like I said, each place is different. Hey Chelsea, what's up? Randy in Palm Springs, how you doing, Randy? Was driving all day and not one Uber Lyft driver was chatting about this. Most have not been paying attention. Yeah, I don't know if a lot of drivers are paying attention or even know. There's a lack of communication when it comes to Uber and Lyft, talking to drivers in general. There's a huge communication gap between that. So maybe drivers don't know, maybe they do know, and they're just kind of seeing what happens. Maybe they don't realize that they have a voice and could do something. I don't know. But anybody who wants to have a voice can have a voice and can voice their opinions. So yeah, there's a lot of different things. I don't know if people are paying attention or not. Last question. How does a business make profit delivering Big Mac and fries? Service charges. If you see that, they have service charges. So yeah, they do that. What's up, Dylan, the Rideshare Hub? How's it going? Have you ever Ubered in Philly? How is it compared to New York City? I'm in the Buffalo, Niagara Falls area, so I'm about 6 hours from New York City. I don't drive in New York City because they have a whole different set of rules there. The area I can drive in all of New York State, including Long Island, except for the 5 boroughs of New York City, and that's for both Uber and Lyft. They have a very strange thing when it goes within New York City because of the licensing, because of everything. I can drop people off within the 5 boroughs, but I can't pick up anybody. In Uber, I can only drive in upstate New York. I can't drive outside. So if I go into Pennsylvania, I can't drive. With Lyft, I can drive in other states as well too. But Philly is probably about 6 hours from Buffalo. I've never had a ride there. Anybody who does drive in Philly, comment below, pay attention to that and see. That's Rebecca Reedy. So I don't know. And I actually haven't been to Philly yet, so that's one place I do want to go to. So if you're talking about Ubering as a passenger, I would be doing that unless I drove there. Then I'd probably be driving myself around. My rule of thumb is if I'm in 10-hour drive from somewhere, I usually drive it. Anything more than that, I fly. All right, so that's the way I like to keep it. Cut off from each other and different ideas. They like that. They don't want people talking. They don't talk. Anytime you see it, they don't talk. They don't share anything. Today, there were a lot of people who were trying to talk to Uber execs and Uber people and Uber workers that were there or looking for them to see who might have been there. Nobody was saying anything. from what people were talking about. Apparently, there was also some closed door talks. I don't know. I didn't. This was the rideshare professor. He actually went inside the state capitol, trying to talk to people. You can see on his live stream if you want to check out all that. I came in the middle of that live stream because I was also watching Dustin, because again, he was watching with both phones. So he was going with a few different people. But yeah, I kind of caught the middle end of that, where they were talking about that. And then he was also talking about how Uber has a lot of lobbyists that are very, very strong and powerful. So who knows what's going to happen, but yeah, apparently, like I said, the hearing I know is tomorrow. I don't know if there's going to be an actual vote or not. If you want to stay up to date to everything, go on Bill Tracker, or Google AB5, or AB5 bill tracker, whatever you want to do, and you can go on and actually see where things are, what's actually happening with it. And then the best place to drive at the airport, Mission Uber. For anybody who is watching right now, go over to Mission Uber. He is a fellow YouTuber, and he is a fellow Buffalonian. We actually met up at the airport just to meet up. He has a YouTube channel where he does game style, trivia style. So actually I was just on his latest video because we finally met up for the first time. Really great channel, really cool concept for things, because again, it's like Cash Cab. So I'm going to give you a few plugs. He'll be on the channel on Real Rideshare Stories soon too. We're just kind of collabing ideas right now and talking with different things. But yes, we did do a collab video already, which is live on his channel, Mission Uber. So go check that. What is going on? Hold on. Sorry about that. My car kind of shut off on itself. That might be a time to wrap it up. If guys got any other questions or anything about it, comment below, let me know, or give a quick live chat question. If you guys got any other questions or anything, do that. Also, lastly, too, Uber Comfort has launched in several markets. Hold on one second. I could do that now. Comfort has launched in several markets. It's over 40 markets. There's been some changes to it. I will have a video updating all that tomorrow that's coming out. So stay tuned for that, because there are changes with Uber Comfort. But if you see Uber Comfort when you're out driving today, yes, it is new. It's a new feature in 43 or 47 markets. I don't remember what it is offhand, but it did launch today. Apparently Uber has a helicopter service that they launched as well too today. So there was a lot of things happening with Uber, but yes, Uber Comfort is going to be one of the things that changes for a lot of drivers in several markets around the country and world, because it has launched in other markets in the world. So again, like I said, tomorrow's video is going to talk about what Uber Comfort is, as well as some of the changes that it now has made. So stay tuned for that, and subscribe if you aren't a subscriber already, to make sure you watch that video and every other video that we got coming out as well up. Hold on, last couple of comments, maybe. Rideshare source driver, what's up? I've been asking several times by rider if I was from Cash Cab. Yeah, I've seen that on videos. Same thing with Mission Uber. Steve from there, you know, he's always gotten something like, oh, that's Cash Cab. I've actually had rides because I have neons in my car too, and the lights. I don't do trivia. I've been contemplating it for a while. I don't really, I mean, I may do it, but I don't want to take away from Steve and you guys who are doing it. Maybe I might throw it in the mix as just like something here or there. But I get that all the time with the lights. They're like, oh, that's the lights. It's like the Cash Cab. And it's like, well, kind of, but I'm not doing trivia, so don't expect that. We can make a fake trivia up, but you're not getting paid. But yeah, that was a cool concept, and there's a lot of fun things on YouTube I see. Mark DeLong, yes, I'm trying to help you guys out. It's a lot longer of a live stream than I expected. I was expecting to do it about half the time, but 11 watching, 3 likes. Hey, I'm a smaller channel. I got 1,400 subs. What can I say? Dustin's got like 22,000 or whatever it is now. So he had over 1,000 views. Hey, that's cool. I just started in October. Actually, it's kind of cool because I started the channel tomorrow. I launched the channel itself tomorrow, but I didn't put any content up until October. So the year anniversary, I'm not really considering as tomorrow. I'm considering it to be in October. But yeah, I am a smaller channel. So hey, I'm grateful for everybody who has subbed, and I'm grateful for all you guys who are on the live stream right now, and watching it down the road, whatever it might be. I'm not going to say anything bad about that. You have UV blacklight. That's actually kind of cool. The only thing is spills. Hopefully clean any of those up. Black lights are cool though. Just the way they are, the effect that they give. I have the LED lights. I might do a video down the road with how I have my car set up, especially at night because I drive at night. So I'll probably do a video down the road. There's a few different things that I still want to do and add to the car. Before I really didn't care about it. Now I like it because I stand out a little bit more. And a lot of people kind of just having lights, they're like, wow, that's cool, and different things. So yeah, there's a lot of different things. What's up, Renegade Biker? I'm well. How are you doing? White stuff reflects UV effectively. Yes, it does. So watch out with that. Any kind of stain, no matter what it is, though, can reflect. So even a spill from water, just because of the discoloration it can have in fabrics, same thing. So just watch out with that. You can put UV light. I'm sure you've looked at that. I don't need to tell you how to set it up. I'm sure you've looked at it and done things that you need to make it the best way it is for your car. So keep it on, man. Do you like Everybody Hates Chris? That is a funny show. I haven't seen it in years, but yeah, it's a funny show. And yeah, that's all I could really say. I haven't seen it in so long. Is it on Netflix or Amazon Prime or anything? Because that's the only way I probably watch it. I might be able to like stream it on somebody who recorded on YouTube. Like that's how I watched radio, whatever the hell Joe Rogan was on. I can't even think of it anymore. Hulu. Okay. Yeah, I don't have Hulu. I only have Amazon Prime. Because I have Amazon Prime. That's the only thing. I don't even have TV anymore. I got rid of it. I do too many things, and it's such a distraction. So I watch YouTube a lot. I like YouTube. It's really fun. There's a lot of cool things on there. I listen to like Joe Rogan's podcast and that. So I do a lot of that kind of stuff, and it's great for background, especially when editing videos or looking things up for you guys, or, when I'm doing other projects or other things as well too. So yeah, I don't even watch Amazon Prime that much unless there's like a really good show. Although I am in the middle of Stranger Things 3 because, my girlfriend's got Netflix and we watch that. So we're in the middle of Stranger Things 3. But yeah, where's Joe? He is out driving right now, actually. He'll be back. Last week was, on the 4th was, the 4th of July on Thursday. So those are normally when I do the Rideshare Driver Joe videos. But he will be back this week. Don't worry. He's got some crazy, crazy things and crazy stories. But yeah, don't worry. Joe is around. He's doing good. Doing okay. You got Bluetooth, LED, RGB lights you got from Walmart. Yep. And use them from early morning rides. Okay. Yeah. I got the lights too. They're fun. Lights are fun. Simple things like that are very effective with passengers, saying, hey, this is cool. I like it. Lights are great for a number of reasons. If somebody drops something like keys, cell phone, whatever it is, they can see it really good, really quick, really easy. So that's a really great thing. Plus the effect, the ambiance that they have. I just have it going through the cycle of lights, of colors. So it's like the 7 different colors or whatever. I have it on a nice cycle, like gentle. You can do it to the music, but you know, I keep the music low. I actually don't even have music. I have like instrumental type genre music, which is all royalty free. So anything you hear in the videos is actually from YouTube Creative Studio that I've put on my phone and play it. So it's actually great music. One, I don't get copyright strikes, and two, it's actually nice because when people are talking, it doesn't have any lyrics in it, so it's really not harsh when people are talking. It's like better elevator music, essentially. So that's always nice. RGB is cool. Yeah, it is. White doesn't reflect it. Okay. UV light isn't bright. Okay, that's cool. Your tips went up about 5% after installing lights. Yeah, you know what? Tips go up, ratings go up. It's just a cool little effect. I also have the little projectors. When I open my doors, it says Jeep on it. Not a lot of people see that. So it's actually a really cool little effect there. And just little small things. I think they cost me like $10 or $20 on Amazon or something. Hey, guess what? It's a tax write-off because I bought it solely for the purpose of doing rideshare. Same thing with the lights. So like these small little things that, you know, just give it a cool little extra, especially driving at night. A lot of people going to the bars, a lot of people going to the clubs, to and from, you know, going out to dinner, whatever it might be. It's just a nice little ambiance thing, a little extra thing, and it really makes a difference. So if you don't have those things yet, you know, you could think about getting them. But yeah, tips go up, ratings go up, quite a good amount. And then you also, I mean, not that it really matters, but people who write good reviews for you, which I've noticed, they'll be like, oh, cool car, or cool lights, or whatever it might be. So like if I'm looking on Uber or Lyft's stuff, they'll say that, more so on Uber. Lyft, I don't know. They have like this, I don't know, it's weird. Their setup. If you got a white shirt, you're glowing. Yeah. Sometimes nail polish. You know, another thing with the UV light, if you whiten your teeth and bleach them, it'll show up. So I don't know if you've ever watched Friends, but when he did it and he had the UV light, he had the glow, it'll work sometimes like that. I've seen that happen from people, like if they actually whiten their teeth, you know, because they it puts a film on your teeth. So if you're at a UV, your teeth will be glowing pretty funny. So that is funny. Are my logos battery or wired? They are battery. I bought them on Amazon. You know what? I'll when I do my video of what my car looks like, I'll put the links of everything that I have in the description below for you guys, so you know, and you can check them out. But yeah, it's like this little square thing that's about that big or whatever, and it's got the batteries, it's got the little projector, it's an LED light. It works really well. I like it. It's pretty cool. It just gives a nice effect. Actually, you know what? Here, hold on. I'll show you. Sneak peek. So that's what it looks like. My thing actually fell off, so I have the electrical tape. But that's what it looks like on the projecting on the ground. So that's actually a pretty cool... Sorry, I gotta put it back in. So that's actually kind of a pretty cool little feature, and a sneak peek because nobody's seen that before unless you have ridden with me. But yeah, I have that, and a lot of people don't notice it when they get in my car, but when they get out, they're like, oh, that's really cool. And like I said, it's just that little extra touch. The things though that I did realize with that, so if you do end up getting something like that, the sticky tape that they have sucks. So I got Velcro at a local hardware store, which is much better at holding it on and in place. Even though, the heat can play havoc, and over time you have to replace the Velcro, especially on my doors, just the way that the plastic is. I don't want something that's going to stay on there permanently, so I didn't attach them permanently. I don't want holes in it, just in case I ever do sell my car. I don't want to have that in there. But yeah, I put Velcro on the back of it. It holds it much, much better. And then the magnets that they give you to activate when the door opens and closes, so it's not on constantly. That's how it turns on and off as a magnet. I have stronger magnets because my doors don't match up to line up properly. Some cars do, some cars it's perfect for the way it is. But yeah, I bought better I actually had much better magnets and stronger magnets, so I keep them at a different level. But yeah, I had to put a little bit of a custom touch on it to make them work properly, to make them work effectively. But yeah, it's a cool little feature. So hopefully you guys did like that. Yeah, you've yet to replace them. I haven't either. It's an LED, and mine take 3 AAA batteries, so they actually get a pretty good amount of juice in them. But yeah, that's a cool little feature. You have wired ones that you don't know how to install. Passenger kick the device. I was worried about them kicking that device out in the back seat. I've had them in for a few months now. Nobody's ever kicked them. Nobody's ever knocked them off at all. And the nice thing is, because I have a stronger magnet, when they fall off, if I don't notice it, because I do open my doors, I do clean my car, and I do notice these things quite often. So once usually the tape starts peeling like this. So once it starts peeling, I stick it back up. Once it starts coming off, though, a little bit quicker, I just pull it off, replace the backing, and it's good to go for the next time. But no, I've never had anybody kick them off whatsoever. And I've had people drunk, but they have a pretty good grip. One person did hit it, and it broke like a little plastic piece off where it's essentially the filter that you put in, because you can get them in many different things. You can change them too, so it can say Uber or Lyft as a projector. It can say just Uber or Lyft. You can get custom ones now. So that little plastic piece is like this little triangle that pops out. Somebody hit that and it fell off, but that's no big deal. I don't really care about that. The whole unit stays on, and stays on pretty well. So if you guys are looking at that, that's a great little thing. Wired ones, if you know how to do any wiring, it's actually pretty easy. You can look to see if your car's windows have power to it at all times. When the car's turned on, well, it's going to have power. So you can just kind of tap into that and then tap into a ground. It's pretty easy. You can buy these little pieces where it's an electrical piece that you can put the wire, both the red and black wire that should be with it, that you can have like this, you put it in, and then it's got this little clamp that you can clamp onto the existing wire, and it'll splice into it, so it'll get the power it needs. And there's several YouTube videos that you can watch on wiring if you want to wire your own thing. Don't run wires through your door jambs, though, because if they ever get exposed to open and closing the door, that'll short out your system. I had a friend who put a 4-gauge wire in for his speaker system, and I wanted to smack him in the head and be like, dude, you don't do that. Because it was in his door jamb instead of running it through the firewall. So we had to run it through the firewall instead, because I wasn't going to allow him to do it. And he was a firefighter. and you could short that out. You could heat it up. You can cause an electrical fire. Not a good deal, dude. So no, don't run them through your door jambs. You can run them in the protective boot if you can get it off, if you take that extra time, if you really need to. But you can usually tap into the windows up and down and do that. Was worried if someone will try to open the door wide to see it when there isn't enough clearance. You know what? I haven't run into that, and actually, they project down pretty quick because you got to remember your thing is like that big. It's really small. So when it projects down, yes, it expands outward, but it's just this little tiny amount that needs to be projected. And usually there's more than enough clearance. I mean, if somebody's getting out of the car, there's going to be enough clearance for it, no matter what it is. Wiring is a problem because I want 4 logos in each to light up and light off on the respective door, only to be opening. Yeah, they're. Do yours come with a magnet when they're wired? If yours come with a magnet, that might be the on-off switch for it when the door's closed. I'm not sure how those ones work. Like I said, I only have the ones that are the battery. They work great. I do recommend putting them in, or at least trying to. You know what? Rideshare Source Driver, email me. My email is in the link in the description below, or realridesharestories@gmail.com. Email me. We could talk a little bit further about that, and I can kind of help you wire it if you're not sure about wiring. Renegade, you're still talking to Uber about the beacon in the car and activating it in my area. Uber beacon. Yeah, there's a lot of different lights out there. I know Lyft. I'm not familiar with the Uber beacon. If it comes from Uber itself, I've heard. I mean, there's plenty of lights you can get. I have the Lyft amp, which I don't know if in my area in New York, some places say it's illegal, some don't. It's really weird. It's this weird blocking the view, which it's not. I mean, I like the lights. I think they're great, especially at night in crowded areas when, the Lyft's amp, it works. It might light up green. It might light up yellow. So it tells the passenger what light to look for. So especially in crowded events or bars or whatever it might be, it's much, much better to do that, and a lot nicer. I like the lights. As long as they give us lights, I'm happy with that. I don't want to spend the money. But yeah, I'm not sure with the Uber beacons. So if you know what if you want to talk about that, or if you want to comment a little bit more, app shut down noon July 12th, noon July 14th. JV pricing. You're talking about a new strike. July 12th to July 14th. If there's more, I haven't really heard it except for a few comments I've seen on my page. I haven't really seen anybody talking about it. I don't know how organized that's even going to be, but longer strikes would probably make a difference. But again, I mean, AB5 right now is a big thing that has everybody's eyes on. Especially in California, and that's kind of what we were talking about at the beginning. Now, just kind of hanging out, talking, having some good time. But yeah, you can see it on eBay. Okay, hold on. There are a few comments that went up. Drivers, no magnet. I need logic for one and off. Yeah, you know what? Email me. We can talk a little bit further. Maybe we can do like a FaceTime or something. and maybe I can kind of help you over the phone. I'm actually pretty good. Me and my buddies learned wiring when we were like younger. That was during the Fast and the Furious times when we had the cars and did all the neons and the sound systems and everything. So we learned it. So yeah, if you want to talk a little bit further, get hold of me, and maybe we can kind of help that out for you. Yeah, most current Uber signage I see is the word Uber. And yeah, here, okay, so here's the thing with amps. I have mine right here. This is the Uber amp. I like it. It's pretty cool. But yeah, one, I heard that there was production issues with it. I have a contact in Lyft, and they were talking about it. Also, some areas have made it illegal because it's a distraction while driving. So it's this weird gray area. Because some areas want lighted signs, other areas say it's illegal. My state is weird too, because it's deemed sometimes illegal and sometimes not. Most cops don't care, but they say if it blocks the windshield, it's a distraction. But having the Uber and Lyft logos in the corner for the window decals actually blocks your view. You know, where mine is in my car, where most people have it that I've seen, that's there. But yeah, there's less amps. I think a lot of the people that were driving that had amps might not be driving anymore, or not driving as often, because summertime is a slow time when driving with Uber and Lyft. It's just slow. It's just the way it is. There's a lot more drivers on the road. In fact, I was looking on the referral right now. It went from $500 for referral driving for Lyft down to $200 for me to refer somebody. Now it's down to $75 when I refer somebody. So it's really saturated in my market right now. And I'm sure many areas are like that, but it's like a crowded gym in the 1st of January. You have it for a few weeks, the first couple months or whatever, and then, you know, it goes back to normal, where, you know, school's back in session. So, you know, we have UB right by, so that's like 25,000 people that go to school there. So, you know, there's a lot more business happening. And then winter, that's a whole different story. But yeah, I don't know if that's really what's happening. I know they weren't delivering amps for a while. I heard that they might be production issues, and then there's some illegalities behind it too, right now. So not sure with that fully, but those are a couple of things I heard. But when it comes to the signage you can get on like eBay or Amazon, those aren't official in any way, shape, or form. Anybody can get them, and I don't believe that they actually qualify for the window decals. So if you're driving with Uber and Lyft, I still think you have to have the actual official window decals from Uber or Lyft, only because of safety concerns or whatever. But here's the thing: if you're frauding, trying to be an Uber driver or Lyft driver, like some of these assholes are, to cause havoc or cause problems or whatever it is, you know, here's the thing: passengers need to pay attention. It's that they get everything. They get your car's make, model. They get your license plate. They get your name. They get your picture. They get everything. So if they're not paying attention, it is kind of on them. But yes, it is also the douchebags that are impostoring. But yes, watch out with those signs. I don't know if they're going to account for being the actual signage you need for driving with Uber or Lyft in areas that require window decals, because some areas don't. So make sure you stay in accordance with the laws, because yes, you can get pulled over. A lot of cops are ticketing and pulling drivers over because you're transporting passengers. They want to make sure you're safe. They want to make sure you're driving properly. So they're pulling people over. It's not necessarily a money grab, even though it could be considered that. But yeah, pay attention to that stuff. Don't take cash rides. A lot of places are doing sting operations for it. A lot of people will pull over. Being on the phone, don't stop in the middle of the street in a crowded street. Pull over to where it's safe, pick somebody up, drop somebody off there, because they will ticket people for this stuff. So don't fall into that trap. Let's see, last few comments. Use the Lyft amp and the Uber beacon. Okay. Are you New York City? No, I am not. I'm in Buffalo. It's a 6-hour drive. I used to commute to New York City a lot for an ex-girlfriend. I don't do that anymore. I'm not with her. My girlfriend lives not too far from me, which is nice. But no, I don't drive in New York City. And when I was in New York City, I actually stopped driving. I used to live, okay, so quick background in that. I used to drive for Uber in Charlotte when I was down in Charlotte. Then I went to New York City because I met a girl on a cruise. She lived in New York. I went back and forth between Charlotte and Buffalo and New York quite often. I was in New York a lot. But I wouldn't drive in New York City because the way the licensing is, because of everything. Driving a Jeep Grand Cherokee also in New York City is not the ideal. I was in the Bronx, so it was much easier to drive around. But driving in Manhattan is hell on earth when you're driving an SUV, especially with everything going on there. But no, I don't drive in New York. I never would drive in New York. Well, in New York City, I drive in New York State. So Arkansas, I'm in Arkansas, ride source driver. All right. I don't, oh, maybe you guys are talking to each other. Sorry. I'm just kind of going through comment. But yeah, so there's a lot of different areas, markets. That's cool. All right. Any last questions or anything? Any last things? It was a lot later than I expected, and I'm actually heading out to go driving in a little bit. I got to get something quick to eat too. I'm freaking starving, even though I ate dinner like a little before I went on the live stream. So I got to get something. But yeah, if you guys want any other questions or anything, I am going to wrap this up a lot longer than I expected, being just over an hour. But yeah, hey, if you guys are on, I'll hang out. I don't care. I know that I can't keep the lift going on the interstate. Apparently pink is too close to the protected color red. Yeah, so Joe is not in New York City. No, Joe is not in New York City. Joe is also in Buffalo as well. For anybody who doesn't know, Buffalo is 300 miles away from New York City. New York is actually a pretty big state. I live in Western New York, which is right by Niagara Falls, which is Buffalo, Lake Erie. So I live on in that area. It is a 6-hour drive from Buffalo to New York City. When I was dating girl in the Bronx, it took me about 5.5 hours to drive there. So no, it's not close by any means. So no, yep, by the falls, yeah. You were there earlier. Where? Buffalo or Niagara Falls? Terrible winter. Yes, it depends on where. So where I live, so I am like in the city, east of the city and north of Buffalo is all actually pretty decent, because south of the city is where the snow belt area is. That's where you get the crazy lake effect snow. Although one year it was 7 feet of snow right where I was, and I hated every second of it. And that was actually one of the reasons why I moved to Charlotte to begin with, because I'm originally from Buffalo. And I ended up back in Buffalo. You do the math, but yeah. Relationships end when you didn't expect, and hey, you know, I still have my place in New York, so, or well, in Buffalo, so that's why I moved back there. But yeah, it's terrible winters. They're cold, and they last forever. And then taxes are absolutely horrible in New York. It sucks. But yeah, we don't need to get into that too much. All right, guys, any other last minute things or questions? Other than that, hey, if you guys ever want to do a hangouts, say like late nights after shifts, I've been contemplating doing that, you know, where I can vent out what happened on the shift you know, whether it be crazy passengers. You know, I had somebody who wanted to go to Taco Bell. God damn it. Sorry, my car actually shuts off. Like, I put it in the accessory mode, but it will shut off after time. So, hey, Deborah, we are wrapping up. If you want to watch the replay, we were talking about AB5, but how's it going? Oh, Sacramento. Okay, sorry, you were there earlier. So yeah, how was it? All right, but yes, I am wrapping this up. Any other last minute questions? But like I said, if you guys wanted to do like a hangout stream every, I don't know, maybe once or twice a week or something, where it's going to be late night, East Coast time, you guys, some of you guys are on West Coast, but it might be like 1, 2, 3 in the morning when I finish up a shift, maybe even around midnight, which, hey, if 3 hour difference, if you're West Coast, would be like 9, 10, 11, 1 p.m., whatever it might be, p.m. But if you guys want to do like a hangout or wrap up or night wrap up or answer questions or hangout or whatever, you know, let me know. I've been contemplating it, because sometimes there's a lot of crap that happens that I deal with that, like I said, there was a girl who's wanted to go to Taco Bell and tried to start eating in my car, and I'm like, no, I ain't having that. But it's not enough to maybe necessarily make it on a video for Real Rideshare Stories, just because it might be like a few seconds or a real quick clip of something. So maybe I can get on there, vent a little bit about something or talk about it. But if you guys want to do something like that where we can just hang out after, let me know. We can definitely do that, because I'm thinking about it. So maybe I'll do that just for the hell of it. But thank you, Dana. Awesome. Love you. All right. But I am wrapping it up now. I got to get out on the road. I got to eat something. So, all right, guys, you guys have a great night. Yes, all eyes on California wrapping up. Tomorrow, like I said, is a hearing for AB5. The Senate is calling it a little bit different. I forget what it is exactly. But yes, if you want to watch the tracker, if you're not in the state, or if you are in the state, go to Bill Tracker. It'll show you where it is, exactly what the next thing that's happening. I don't believe they're actually going to be doing the vote tomorrow. They could, who knows? Like I said, it's a hearing. It could go to vote. It's very unlikely. But we will see. Things are happening. But other than that, this has been another episode of Real Rideshare Stories. Hope you guys got a good idea of what's going on with the recap. Much longer than I expected. But yeah, I'm signing off. I hope you guys have a great night. And as always, never drink and drive. Always tip your drivers. And we'll see you next time. How do I get off? Hold on.